what's up, everybody? Can you hear me? I am driving right now, and I figure, hey, look, I got about an hour to kill, so let's talk Intel. Can anybody hear me? All right, let's see here. I don't know. This says welcome to live chat. Okay, cool. All right, good. What's up, everybody? I just left the ranch, and I got about an hour to kill. I'm heading into Mordor, Texas, aka Austin. I'm just going to teach a one-day area study workshop tomorrow, and let's talk Intel. So last weekend I taught a one-day disaster intelligence course, and we really just went over kind of some immediate action stuff, right? How to get your intelligence streams online, open source, signals intelligence, imagery intelligence, kind of just the basics of how do you build a local human intelligence network for emergency preparedness. And, you know, when the balloon goes up, what do? How can you maintain? So here's one thing, right? Everyone talks about, oh, situational awareness is important. Yeah, absolutely it is. But listen, there's a lot more than just situational awareness. There's a little thing called situational understanding. And we want to shift. The great thing about intelligence is that it shifts us from situational awareness to situational understanding. Okay, situational awareness is like, oh, there's some bad guys over there. Situational understanding is like, oh, those dudes are probably from the Leroy Jenkins gang, and X, Y, and Z, here's everything we know about them. And I'll tell you, even more importantly, here's what to expect from them in the future. Yeah, the bad hombres, that's right. So intelligence moves us from situational awareness to situational understanding. Now, the real thing I wanted to talk about tonight is the area study. And I know I harp on the area study, but I got a unique angle this time because it kind of dawned on me, maybe one reason why a lot of people don't do an area study or they don't understand the value or the importance is maybe they just think, hey, we're just compiling a bunch of information that we're getting off the internet and putting into a binder, and I don't really want to spend the time doing that. Well, the thing with intelligence is that we start with the mission, right? The intelligence cycle begins with the receipt of mission. So the real way to approach your area study, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this. The real way to approach your area study is, what is my mission? And that can be something as simple as community security. I'm going to make sure that if the Leroy Jenkins gang comes to my town, that we're going to spot them as soon as possible. We're going to be looking for the indicators, maybe the early warning indicators of increased crime in the future. You know, absolute worst case scenario, maybe we'll get out and patrol the community. There's a number of missions that we can take that aren't kinetic. So yeah, providing security to my homestead or to the ranch or to my neighborhood or community or subdivision or whatever. Yeah, that's one mission that we can support with intelligence, and even with an area study. But there are some other things that we can do. Okay, so provide stability or provide some level of local control, right? So we might say, okay, let's get out in the community and let's see who needs medical care or some kind of medical attention. Let's try to restore essential services if we can. Like, is that under our control? Let's meet with community members and try to basically build some ad hoc neighborhood watch during an emergency. I'll give you a real-world example that we actually used last weekend during the disaster intelligence course. Okay, so I live in Central Texas, and we just had this snowstorm that's like a Tuesday for Idaho, and this was like a Tuesday from hell for Central Texas. And you may have heard about it on the news. And so our mission is to go around our neighborhood, because this is actually a real world thing. A couple months ago, I had an elderly couple move into my neighborhood. And so the Friday before the snowstorm, I went over to their house and I asked them, I've been meaning to look for basically like an excuse to go over there. I walked over there and I introduced myself and said, hey, if y'all need anything, let me know. We lose power, you need something. One of my neighbors across the way has some small kids. I texted the guy and I said, hey, last time we had snow, we lost power, and it's supposed to get really cold. So what's your plan if, it's 5 degrees outside and we lose power, and all of a sudden you wake up Monday morning and it's 20 degrees inside, 5 degrees outside, 20 inside. And he said, I hadn't even thought of that. And this dude has some small kids, man. Luckily, our neighborhood didn't lose power. Our neighborhood didn't lose power, but some guys on the team were without power and had busted pipes. Man, it was just an awful mess for a few days. So at any rate, let's just say our mission during the snowstorm would have been, okay, go around to 25 homes, or go around to the 50 homes in our neighborhood or your subdivision or whatever, and go door knocking and basically do welfare checks for these people. Okay, so that's our mission. Okay, so, we can do a METTC basically on that, and that's our mission, right? Okay, we're gonna go do welfare checks for 25 homes in the area. Okay, so what are some intelligence gaps that we need to consider, right? Maybe people who are elderly. Maybe we want to prioritize them, knock on their doors first. What about people who are not going to be receptive? What about people who aren't going to like that we're knocking on their door just to check on them? Okay, well, that may be the case. So who are the cranks in the neighborhood? Who's going to be pissy if we go introduce ourselves and say, hey, we just want to make sure you're not freezing to death over here. Do you need anything? What can we do for you? Is it in our power? That might be another thing. Somebody in the class last weekend had a really great example. Especially in rural Texas, you have a lot of gated properties, gated ranches, homesteads. So, are we going to kind of need any special equipment? Are we going to have to make any kind of considerations for that? How about the roads? Okay, right, this is another intelligence gap. Are we going to be able to drive on the roads, or are we going to have to march? How long is this going to take? How about an estimation of how long this is going to take? So basically, okay, let's just say it takes 4 hours and it's 10 degrees outside. Well, what kind of special equipment do we need? This is more of an ops thing than an intelligence thing. But here's the thing about intelligence, it's terrain and weather, right? Everyone talks about terrain. Terrain is super important, absolutely important, but terrain is only half of that layer. It's actually terrain and weather, right? That's why every Battalion S2, Brigade S2, or Division G2, whatever, they have these Air Force weenies called staff weather officers. And I say weenies, they're actually kind of cool if you have weather problems. And so the SWOs, the staff weather officers, give you a weather update. So how about this? This mission, we anticipate it's going to take 4 hours for us to go walk door to door. What's the weather going to be like over this 4 hour period? Are temps going to drop? Is it going to start raining? Is it going to start snowing or sleeting? So on and so forth. So this is all stuff that intelligence can provide us. Yeah, I'm just reading some of these comments, and I'll get to those in just a second. So listen, if you're having doubts about, I don't want to put in the time, or if you're like, hey, I don't really want to do an area study, just put yourself in the shoes that you have a pressing mission, right? Or think about a realistic scenario for you. And if you're just planning to bug in, like we were basically stuck inside for a few days during the snowstorm. Obviously, we didn't have to worry about marauders or looters or Teotihuacan without rule of law, end of the world SHTF kind of stuff. But maybe put yourself in that situation and just say, look, this time it was a snowstorm. There are those reports that the Texas Power Grid was like maybe minutes away from having some real permanent damage happen. And let's say now we're without power for 2 weeks. Okay, now what does our area study look like, right? What are our pressing knowledge needs to get through that 2 weeks? And this is one thing I keep trying to impress on people. Stuff is good, okay? Generally, stuff's important. Like, you need to eat. You got to have water. If the power's out, yeah, you might have to be rubbing sticks together. Or, I bought a case of those. I bought them from the guys at PrepperNet. Those little fire starters, right? You just one match, put the match on it, and it burns for 30 minutes or whatever. And I mean, it's like a really good deal. That's why I bought it. So look, I'm not immune from the desire like just to buy stuff just to have, because I'm really like a prepper at heart too, right? However, my approach is I look at mission critical items, right? Here are the threats, here are the scenarios, here are the second and third order effects that we're going to see in the hours, days, weeks. Okay, great. Okay. These people have been talking about hyperinflation forever. And we hear from Jim Rogers and David Stockman and Jim Rickards and a whole bunch of other people about hyperinflation. Oh, and it's imminent. And Peter Schiff saying last year, oh, we're going to have hyperinflation. It's imminent, even though we're going through a disinflationary period. Here's the thing. Eventually, these dudes are going to be right. I actually do. For a long time, basically for at least, I started Florida Observer in 2016 as my full-time job. Since 2016, I've been very skeptical. I've been very doubtful that All right, hey, I knew this was going to happen because I did my area study.